Bryan Munson of Husker Online and On3 back on the show. Bryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. We got you when it comes to this big weekend, man. There's a nice group of official visitors, and I'm sure we'll get you here shortly, man. But yeah, this is the start of June is here, so therefore we will be trying to bring you the best coverage over there on Husker Online to get all these guys covered.
Yeah, it's a big time of the year for you guys, and let's go ahead and jump right into it. What is kind of the first camp that we're looking at around the corner, and what is Nebraska doing as far as bringing guys in?
Yeah, so you do have camps kind of spinning up here a little bit. It's interesting because they kick off actually on Sunday. I think I'm going off the top of my head. And, it's such an interesting thing because they're doing so well. And I say this because I think that where they're at currently, like with the 2024 class, it just kind of is what it is. They are where they are at right now in their 2024 class. They've got the commitments already on board. I think they're at 7 commits. I think that they would want to kind of bring that, maybe double that total over the next coming 3 months or so before they kind of go into the season. And obviously there's going to be some guys that they're going to want to come in during their official visit, later on in the fall. But as far as like the camps go, I don't foresee like a lot of movement happening with 2024 offers. I really kind of view the camps this year a lot more at like they want to get a better feeling for the 25 guys and the 26 guys that are out there. I think they still are kind of trying to work to get their arms around that group of players, particularly, in the area. I mean, they spent a lot of time out there on the road during the last 2 months to kind of get the offers out there to 24 guys, number one, to 25 guys after that. And I think that they really feel like they're at where they are with the 2024 guys. But, they'll have that weekend. I think it's the 4th. Is that Sunday? Yeah, so they start off on Sunday. And then actually on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, they're on the road. They're actually at a satellite camp down here in Texas. They'll be at the Mary Hardin Baylor camp on Monday. That's a 2-session camp. And then I think it's Houston Christian is the other school that they'll be at down there on, I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday. So they'll be in Texas next week, and then they come back and start up things again on that following Saturday on June 10th, when they'll be back on campus kind of getting into the football camps, the specialist camps, and then they get into a little bit later on, they have like a fullback camp and a postgraduate camp, which I think it's really interesting how Rule has kind of expanded the grades that they're looking for. Typically it was a 9 through 12 thing. Now with the transfer portal and everything kind of out there, they're looking for 9th graders through college juniors. And they actually have a post-grad camp, like kind of a free agent thing. You're hanging out there, you've gone through, high school free agent, junior college free agent, portal guys that have not found a place to land. There's a camp for you too on June 13th as the post-grad camp. So really interesting way to kind of go about doing it. I think the one takeaway I have as far as the camp schedule, just one Friday Night Lights camp. That's all you got. It's June 16th. I know that everybody's kind of like, talked about it before with, previous staffs coming in, supporting that. I think that probably would still be a thing. Obviously, parents are still allowed to kind of go to all the camps anyway to watch and attend and see how things are going. But just one Friday Night Lights camp this spring under Matt Rule, which I thought was a very interesting thing to kind of take note of. But the official visitors this weekend, great group. Obviously they'll have a chance to see, I think, part of the stuff that's going to happen on the 4th, but really they should be getting to Lincoln, tomorrow and be there Friday, Saturday, probably out early on Sunday morning. So the coaches will be on to the camp there that afternoon.
And of course, this month, all month long, I know the 23rd is kind of their big recruiting weekend, but we're starting off with this weekend. They've set themselves in a pretty good position just this weekend, right?
Absolutely. No, 9 guys coming in for official visitors. It's a really interesting kind of blend of what you got going on. You got a lot of skill position guys from defensive backs to wide receivers. You've got then pipeline or kind of in the trenches guy. You got a defensive lineman. You got offensive tackle. And then you bring in maybe one of your top edge prospects too. So you kind of headliners here. Peyton Morgan from Pflugerville, Texas, was in Lincoln for the spring game. He comes back. I put Nebraska at kind of a neck and neck race right now with Texas Tech. And his buddy, who will be there as well, Dante Carter from Cibolo Steel, same high school as Tommy Armstrong. He's coming in as well. Another guy that's kind of neck and neck with Texas Tech. I think the visit this weekend is pretty critical for those guys to get a good understanding of what's going to happen. But I will give you a couple of guys here that I feel like will end up part of the class eventually somewhere else down the line. I don't know if they commit this weekend, but I think that they eventually get there. First one is Mario Buford, younger brother of Marquise, 4-star cornerback out of DeSoto, Texas. He has visited Nebraska 5 times before in the past. This is the 6th visit to Nebraska. I think that really spells good things as far as that's all concerned. I think that he, has seen some changes, some improvements from Scott Frost to Mickey Joseph to Matt Rule. And I think Matt Rule has dialed up, the attention that he has been getting, of course, from Nebraska when it comes to recruiting. And then Caleb Pyfrom, the Omaha Central offensive tackle, 6'5", 310 pounds. He's got some things going on with Minnesota and some other schools, I think, that are still kind of drawing the attention. But I really think Nebraska has stepped up their game there, trying to keep him from leaving the state. I mean, Illinois is obviously pushing, and Iowa and a lot more other Big Ten schools, that would like to try to keep him or get him to go leave the state a little bit. And I'll give you one, maybe dark horse, one guy that I feel like Nebraska really, really put a good scenario together, and it really probably is their top guy at that position. I like Carlin Jones from Bay City, Texas. I know a lot of people picking on the competition. He seems to just blow by everybody. I just think that that's a big guy that's that quick. And I know it's not 5A or 6A competition level down here in Texas. It's 4A. Still a lot of good 4A players. A lot of players go on to play D1 ball from the 4A level. So that's not really a big stretch. But there's some interesting things about this weekend. Obviously, the guys that have kind of maybe made a pact about going to school together and things obviously to watch on. But lots of kids in from Texas, lots of skill position, lots of guys in the trenches.
Now, with the freshmen and the newcomers moving in this last week or during this week, how, and I don't know if you'll be able to answer this, but how involved will they be in these camps, and how important is it to get the guys who are closer in age to these new classes, these 24, these 25 guys, just get them in contact with each other and maybe see if some peer recruiting can go on with some of the new guys who have just joined the team?
Now, as far as Matt Rule is concerned, I'm not 100% sure. I mean, typically, I think last year, you had that first Friday Night Lights camp that kind of led into an official visit weekend. You had the official visitors that were kind of out there that were kind of helping things out. You had some guys competing. You had some new offers kind of happening. You don't really have that kind of overlap. You've got the Sunday camp that kicks off, so you kind of got the official visitors kind of leaving. But to your point, the new arrival guys, I would absolutely feel like that's going to be a big thing for them to kind of come in and start to understand the culture of the coaching staff, of how they want things to be run, what it means to be a Husker under Matt Rule. And I do feel like most of the guys that are there, I know I caught up with Vincent Carroll Jackson and Riley Van Poppel, and I think that they're, just days away from kind of getting there. They've had a couple things kind of delay them getting up there, but I do feel like you're gonna have a lot of those newcomers be involved with things on Sunday when it comes to that first camp, because I think it's kind of that first, introduction just to how things are going to be ran, and maybe even kind of starting to really broaden that relationship, with the coaching staff, that you're obviously going to be, changing over to from where you came from to where you're going. So I do feel like the new guys will be involved a lot.
Now, whether it be the quarterback position or any other position, just kind of asking, have you heard any kind of portal news? I know with Logan Smothers officially leaving Nebraska with 3 quarterbacks on the roster, maybe not ideal. Is there anybody in the portal Nebraska's been kind of sniffing around it?
I don't think so. I mean, not outside of the offensive tackle that Nebraska recently has picked up on. I know that some people are asking about the linebacker from Oregon. I believe actually that he is in finals. I want to say that he was in finals maybe up all the way to like last week. So there may be some stuff there still like with Taggart from Oregon. I know that some Nebraska coaches were actually following him a little bit. I don't think he's taken any of their visits except to BYU. That may be one to kind of keep an eye on. I know Nebraska is going to kind of keep things open, but I just feel like they got lucky with the Utah offensive tackle. I feel like that is going to be a good player. I love the amount of eligibility he has left. This kind of raw, still kind of dude that you can get in there and still develop and kind of mold him one way and not have to kind of like rebuild the body and stuff like that. And he's a huge guy. I mean, he's way bigger than we tout him on the On3 profile, but there's just nothing I can do to update that. So I think other than Taggart, the linebacker from Oregon, things have been very, very quiet on the portal front. And it really is not too surprising between, I think, the guys still exiting the program, guys finishing up school. I think you have some walk-ons being awarded scholarships, etc. I think that they're still doing their best to kind of manage that 85 number.
And one final question with Nebraska's kind of games, the announced, the TV networks, you start off with 2 games on Fox. That's huge. And then, of course, the Iowa game back to CBS, away from BTN where it's been the last couple of years. Do these national, 3-letter network national TV games, are they as important as they were in past? I mean, is this still a big deal in recruiting for Nebraska?
I think it is. I mean, you're trying to re-promote. You're really repackaging Nebraska. You're trying, and I don't know if repackaging is the right word. You're now trying to show what Matt Rule has been able to do in the short amount of time that he's been there since November to kind of get things together. So through one spring, through one recruiting class, it really wasn't all his own, but able to kind of do the best that he can to bring some players in that he wants, that he feels like are more in line with what he needs to do to be successful in Lincoln. These are the first things to go out there and kind of see the progress, to see where things are at. Lots of new names, lots of new faces. How's that offense going to look? What's that defense going to look like? 3-3-5. Okay, show me what it is, and let me see what the personnel kind of look like that you have currently there in Nebraska, and kind of start to understand the skills that are needed to kind of put at those spots. I think that it's incredibly important. I think that Coach White and Coach Satterfield and all the other assistant coaches want to tell some of these guys that they're recruiting, hey, tune in when we're in Boulder, tune in when we, take on so-and-so, and it's a nationally televised game. You don't need the Big Ten package to catch us in these games. We're going to be there nationally televised, and you're going to have a chance to see yourself kind of fitting into what it is that we're trying to do. I think that that's incredibly important because I think Nebraska is still – that's the gap. The gap that they have right now in recruiting is not on, the staff to show love, to show attention, to have the right approach. The gap right now is how they're going to get there on the football field, turning the L's to W's. That's going to be the big part in how it does. That's the next improvement or the next step that they have to make.
He's Bryan Munson of Husker Online and On3. Bryan, thanks for joining us once again today.
Have a great rest of the week, guys. We'll see you soon.
All right, you too. There he goes. Bryan Munson of Husker Online and On3. Once again, joining us every Thursday and getting us caught up to date on the latest in Husker recruiting.